everyone. Last time, we learned that the Israelites sadly didn't trust God and refused to go into the promised land. Because of this, God said they would have to travel in the wilderness for 40 years. After this time of correction, God knew the Israelites would eventually enter the land He promised them. So, in chapter 15 of Numbers, God gave Moses some very important rules for when they finally settled there. These rules mostly dealt with how they should give offerings to God. He said that when they offered a burnt offering or a sacrifice to fulfill a special promise, they must also offer grain and oil, and a certain amount of wine as a drink offering, based on the size of the animal. This showed God that they were thankful for His goodness and wanted to honor Him with the very best from their harvest and flocks. One very important part of these new rules was that the law was the same for everyone. It didn't matter if they were an Israelite born in the family or a foreigner living among them. Everyone had to follow the same rules for worship and offerings. God wanted them to know that in His eyes, all of His people were to be treated equally and worship Him in the same way. God also gave instructions for what should happen when someone made a mistake or sinned by accident. If the whole community did something wrong unintentionally, they needed to offer a young bull for a sin offering to make things right with God. If just one person sinned by mistake, they needed to bring a female goat or a lamb. These offerings were a way for God to forgive their accidental errors. However, God warned them that anyone who sinned willfully, on purpose, with a defiant attitude, would be removed from the community because they showed they did not respect the Lord's word. Finally, God gave them a special command. He told them to make tassels, or fringes on the corners of their clothing, and put a cord of blue on each tassel. The purpose of these tassels was to be a reminder. When they looked at them, they would remember all the commandments of the Lord and be encouraged to obey them, instead of just following their own desires. This would help them stay holy or set apart for their God. So how does this relate to us today? Numbers 15 teaches us two beautiful things. First, just as God gave the Israelites rules to worship Him, God has given us the ultimate offering in Jesus. We don't need to bring animals or grain anymore, because Jesus offered Himself perfectly for our mistakes, both accidental and willful. Second, the tassels were a visible reminder to the Israelites to obey. For us, our Bible and the Holy Spirit are our constant reminders. They help us remember to live a life that honors God and shows others the love that Jesus gave us. We are called to be holy, just like them, but we have the power of God's Spirit helping us every step of the way. Subscribe to the channel, friends, and join us next time as we continue our journey in the book of Numbers. God bless.